Well, hello everybody, hope that you're good and welcome into another series of Gigantamax and Dynamax battle guides. So, this weekend we have the return of the Gen 1 Gigantamax starters, long overdue in my opinion, given very few of us, including me, actually were able to give them a go back in, when was it, November. Hopefully we're all a little bit more prepped than we were last time round, but what are you going to need to take down, firstly, Gigantamax Venusaur? What are your best attackers, what are your best defenders, and what are your best healers? Let's break it down today. Obviously a big old shout out to Pokémon GO Hub for their updated guides. So, Gigantamax Venusaur sticks with the grass poison typing, making it weak to fire, flying, ice, and psychic as well. So 4 weaknesses, plenty of counter choices. And if you find yourself a hundo, that will be 1554. Fingers crossed, because all of the Gigantamax starters are actually really solid Pokemon. Before we jump into actual Pokemon counters, it's worth noting the moveset for Venusaur is actually one of the easier ones to take down because it's all grass type attacks, fast and charged, except for Sludge Bomb. So there are no counter moves that Venusaur could dish out to you to actually counter the Pokemon you're taking in to attack it. The best attacker slots, this Pokemon is going to be what you're going to take into the Dynamax or Gigantamax section with the 3 max moves to deal the damage. First up, of course, is the Gigantamax Charizard. It is the most powerful fire type available at this current time. But hopefully some of us have a Dynamax Moltres with good old Fire Spin. I've got my maxed out Hundo, so that's going to be my prime counter. We will make a team on this video a little bit later, but Metagross, Beldum is in the cycle at the moment. It has been in the cycle many times. Hopefully we've all got a little Metagross that actually can be an attacker as well as a defender or healer. If you don't quite have a Gigantamax Charizard, a Dynamax one will do just as well, be it with the wing attack or the fire spin, because both of its movesets, the fire and the flying, are super effective. Cinderace, if you got yourself a decent one of those, having done a Score Bunny battle. And finally, the ice type attackers. These are kind of the lower tier. I would be careful with Gigantamax Lapras, just because it will be neutral to those grass moves given it's part water, but Ice Shard on it, obviously it gets Gigantamax Resonance as its G-Max move. And finally, Dynamax Articuno with Frost Breath. That is kind of the lower tier of things. So the best recommendation we can have for an attacker is fire types or Metagross. If you really haven't got anything else, get yourself a Metagross. You should be able to do that by the time this video drops until the weekend. The defender list is quite short, but I would say quite a sweet one, because Gigantamax Venusaur, if you've got one from the previous rotation, or even a Gigantamax Charizard from the previous rotation, if you have either of those with the guard move at tier 3, that could be utilized as a defender. But Metagross, I would say, is probably going to be the cheapest and the longest standing usable one of these, because we've all hopefully powered up a Metagross, given we were using them as defenders and healers versus the Dynamax Kanto Birds not too long ago. And finally, your Dynamax Venusaur would be kind of an okay defender. Just to clarify, of course, those are the ones that have max guard on them at tier 3, but you need to coordinate within your group who needs to do some defending. Do you really need it? I would argue no. We use max guard a lot less than attack and spirit, the healers. Before we jump further into the guide, I would of course like to say a big thanks to my wonderful Patreon squad, who are the backbone and very much the reason we're able to continue bringing you the content, not just the guides, but the vlogs, the challenges, the live event travel, and the global bits and pieces as well for big events. Thank you so very much to every single one of you guys. You are truly awesome as a squad of people. So the healer list is also pretty short. It's pretty much copy paste. Charizard gets swapped out for Greedent. So again, I would say go for Metagross. Metagross seems to be a really solid one to use. Just make sure you've got Max Spirit at tier 3, because you could utilize Max Spirit more easily, I would say, than Guard. Of course, any of you who have watched previous battle guides here on the channel, we do recommend not hitting the charge attack button when you are not in the Dynamax part of the battle, because it's much more energy efficient to just spam the fast moves. Spam your fast moves, swipe to pick up the energy pieces that might spawn next to you. If you see the 3 prongs above your Pokemon, dodge. Hopefully you can dodge the charge attack. You want to get to the max meter being full as quickly as you possibly can do. If you're interested in more detail as to why, I would recommend checking out the Pokémon GO Hub articles, because they have a bit more of a breakdown about how that is actually mathematically done. Jumping into Pokémon GO, we're now going to build our team. If you didn't know, you can actually build up battle teams for the max battles, much like you do for raids or for PvP. You just have to hit the Pokeball menu, hit the battle button, swipe over to your teams, and all the way at the bottom you see from from previous battle guide, we have our Moltres moveset. So we're going to remove that team from the power spot selection and build a new team. What are we going to put in the selection here? Well, going to combat power, of course, our attacker is going to be Dynamax Moltres, but you want to lead with one of your tanks. And I'm going to obviously utilize 2 Metagross there because they seem to be the best in terms of defenders and healers, and Metagross will not take any super effective damage from Venusaur's movesets. The Moltres is going to go into slot number 3. That thing is maxed out on all the moves, as are the Metagross, as you can see right there. So that is our team. The preferred format for these Gmax and Dynamax battles that are kind of bigger and more difficult to do, you might have to find yourself a little crew. Obviously, I know that this system is not necessarily for everybody in everybody's community, which is obviously a shame, but if you're able to travel somewhere, maybe because it coincides with Com Day, hopefully you can get a couple of these battles in, or perhaps trade something in the future. Running the format of tank, attacker is solid, and if you're starting kind of afresh, what you'll want to do is make sure one of these Pokemon has max Spirit all the way up to tier 3 if you can do. The next one has max Guard all the way up to tier 3 if you can do. And your attacker, in this case the Moltres for me, or maybe it's the Charizard for you, maybe it's another Metagross with a Psychic type move. Your attacker must have max attack all the way to tier 3 as well. So there we go. Hopefully that makes things a little bit easier to understand. Gigantamax Venusaur 2.0. Hopefully we're able to give this one a go and have much more success. They were very challenging to take down, but bear in mind we weren't used to the format a while ago, and also we have vastly better counters these days. So I will say, of course, if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button down below and stick with me for more Pokemon Go content, because we've got more battle guides coming up covering the Gmax starters and Dynamax Raikou in the future as well. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please go and check out one of the videos here on screen. And there is so much more besides for you to continue enjoying, which I really hope that you do consider doing. But I will say until the next time, do take care.